Yeah! Look at us go. Fights have happened, and I have, I think, successfully pulled off this without too much issue. Honestly, pretty surprised about it, but please let me know if you're seeing this on the YouTube, because I think we have. And if you're hearing it, what you are hearing, ladies and gentlemen, are the horns. The horns of victory, and they sound for Joe Pyfer, who finishes Israel Adesanya in the second round of UFC Seattle. A lot to talk about from this event. There's also an RAF, which we'll touch on a little bit. And currently, PFL Pittsburgh is still going down at whatever arena it is that exists in Pittsburgh. So we'll keep you updated as that goes. But we got a lot to get to. And joining me, he's going to do most of the talking since I'm also on the ones and twos. The King in the North. Some say he's no longer the Prince of Positivity based on some recent comments he's made. But I think he's going to be pretty positive tonight, because that is a hell of a show we just had. AK Lee, AK.
Oh, hi everybody.
How you doing, buddy?
Sorry, I was just checking my bets. Came up behind on a couple of things here. The Michael Chiesa KO, no regrets, by the way. A super fun wager.
It was super fun. I mean, even if we didn't have much fun with it.
Yeah, and I think we all agreed, throw whatever your units are, throw like a very meager unit on that, guys. Whatever your unit of measurement.
I threw $20 on it, and I'm okay with it. It was worth the 20.
And I picked Grasso, but I picked Grasso on points. That was foolish. I should have just picked Grasso because she delivered one of the most insane friggin' finishes we've ever seen in UFC history. Oh my lord, that was terrifying.
Wild stuff. Like that was the death of the climb. But if the climb's gonna die, I'm okay with that being the way that the climb dies. But we will get to all of that, and like I said, we will get to the RAF stuff. I have on this screen right here, we're about to get the co-main event of PFL Pittsburgh, so I've got that up. If something major happens there, we'll obviously talk about it. But maybe not the biggest story, but the story we're going to start out with this evening, AK, is I think maybe just the story I'm feeling the most, and I certainly saw this out there. But tell me, AK, is this the event of the year? Is UFC Seattle the MMA event of the year?
Well, let me first say I have not done a great job of keeping track of other events outside the UFC, so I'm a little hesitant to say that. But I mean, we're mostly a UFC audience here. Let's be honest, that's what we're here to talk about. So if we're focusing primarily on the largest MMA promotion in the world, then yeah, I think it was. The closest was the UFC Vegas 114. Emmett Vallejo's card, excuse me, we had not too long ago. Thank you. And not too long ago. And that card was almost great because it like exceeded expectations. So no, I mean, for sure, you could still, if that is your pick for best UFC card of the year, I don't begrudge you at all. That was a super fun show. But this one had more stakes. I think also it had, frankly, the possibility for it not to be a fun card to watch. Like, I think I like the names involved, and for the most part, I like the matchups, but I would not have expected so many finishes. I think, I don't know if anyone's following me on Topology. If you look at my picks page, I think I only predicted like 5 or 6 finishes. Instead, hat tip to Michael Carroll, who tweeted, we had the first 6 finish main card in many years. Sorry, I should have had that stat up ahead of me. I think he said since UFC Santos versus Hill, August 2022. 150 UFC events ago is the last time we had a 6-fight main card, and none of the fights went the distance. So amazing there. So it's obviously cleared the amount of finishes I predicted.
That's a lot.
And we had like there were storylines, and they all kind of paid off in a meaningful way. I'm sure as we go to the card, I'm sure I'm missing something. But every storyline we kind of discussed pre-fight, every storyline you guys heard about in the lead up to the fights that the fighters themselves were talking about, there was resolution. We did not get anything. I mean, some of these are TBC, kind of to be continued. But for the most part, stories progressed. Most importantly, we got super fun fights. Yeah, I think this has to be the best card of the early UFC calendar. But I'm open to arguments otherwise, of course.
I'm not open to arguments. I think it very clearly was. I thought last week's was the best card they had, and we've topped it. Also, just
London?
for the sake of
London
wasn't or on paper last week was good. We still had some fun. The main event was the main event. But yes, on paper, I thought that was the best card. And then it still was a pretty good card. There was just some wonkiness. To be fair, this card also has some wonkiness attached to it, but I think this blows anything else we've seen out of the water. I also do want to give, PFL their love. Impa Kasanga and I just face planted Dalton Rasta. So not like when you hear face plant, it's not like like the best one, but it's a face plant and it's a pretty solid knockout for Impa. So there's that going on at PFL. If you've got questions, you can put them in the chat. We'll get to all your questions at the end. But first, I have questions. I have questions for you, AK. I've asked you one. Was this the event of the year? I think we've established it was. Thus far, plenty of time. 327 looks promising. Let's just say that. But the thing we will be talking, I think, the most about from this event is pretty obviously Joe Pyfer. Joe Pyfer gets it done against Israel Adesanya in the second round. Was not an easy victory. Really looked like he was struggling in phases there. I haven't checked the scorecards. I don't know if they're out. I suspect he lost that first round. And he was well on his way to losing maybe majorly in the second round before turning things around with we'll talk about how, but AK, initial reactions to Joe Pyfer doing the thing. He got this big opportunity and now he has done it. Come Tuesday, he will be a top 10 fighter, maybe even like top 6 in the UFC. I don't think he'll make it that high up in our rankings, but you never know. What's your initial reaction to what Joe Pyfer accomplished on Saturday night?
All credit to him. All credit to him. Praise be. No, it's not be Joe Pyfer anymore, guys. It's praise be Joe Pyfer. This is the man has turned his life 360 degrees.
That's a great gimmick.
Praise Joe. If you're
I don't know if you told him that, but you should tell him that. That's a great gimmick.
A blasphemous thing to do, though. I think it's a blasphemous thing.
It could be. Do that. You would actually be way better to respond to that. I'm not served in that, but I think that's a great gimmick.
Yeah. So I'm running with it. So praise be Joe Pyfer. He's turned his life 360 degrees, ending up in the same place apparently, but he's different, right? We talked about this in the preview show. He's different. Give him a lot of the credit. Like I said, I know we're gonna kind of dive into some tactical errors that Izzy may have made. By the way, guys, I apologize for my eye being red. I think I rubbed it at the exact wrong time with some sort of foodie substance. So my eye is fine. It's just I should not have touched it. Don't touch your eyes, kids. They tell you that all the time.
Ignacio Bahamondes got near you.
Yeah.
Everything just turned red. That's what happened. Look at the cage.
But we're going to give Pyfer his flowers first because he did the most important thing in a fight like this when you're sort of supposed to step up and you're facing someone who you are like he himself has said I think is the greatest middleweight of all time. But he did not treat Izzy with respect in the cage. Let me put it that way. That's what I mean to say. He came out the way Joe Pyfer is supposed to do. We don't think that Joe is like a 5-round fighter yet. Like he still has some development to do, but I think we view him as a 1 to 2 round fighter. And if he doesn't really get it done there, like he's not going to be really impressive as the fight goes on. He was immediately coming forward. He was eating punches. He was eating leg kicks. That's probably bad. Just got to work on that. He was being aggressive, just going in for takedowns. Some of them was telegraphed, but essentially saying, I'm going to fight my fight. If I eat some counters, great. If I don't get you taken down initially, that's fine. Izzy has great takedown defense, but he did not defer, I do not think, from his team's game plan, which is get in Izzy's face, try to take him down, and throw bombs. You're not fighting from range. You're not doing a little tactical Muay Thai battle with Izzy. You're throwing bombs. That's what you do. Sometimes you're going to whiff. It's going to cost you some energy, but when you land, he's going to feel it, and he's going to notice. And maybe you even goad him into fighting your fight, which I think is what we saw in the second round. I think we can all agree. A little uncharacteristic from the last style bender because some of those wild exchanges at the end, Jed, may have led to his downfall. Is that fair?
Oh yeah, man. I mean that basically leads me to sort of the next question because I think that there are reasons to credit Joe Pyfer for this performance. We talked in the preview show. We talked a little bit about this on BTL. The thing I didn't want to see happen in this fight was Pyfer just lamping Izzy immediately, which honestly, at stages, it looked like it could happen. He was getting pretty close early, but that's always been Izzy's style. He's just out of range counter. What I didn't want to see is, he just lands it because I feel like we didn't learn anything. And I'll be honest, AK, I don't know how you feel about this. I don't think I learned that much, but I did learn some. Again, I do want to give Joe Pyfer credit here because this was not the exact same Joe Pyfer who fought Jack Hermanson or whatever. I think he lost that first round. Again, I haven't checked the judges' scorecards. I'd be pretty surprised if he didn't, but the judges surprised me tonight sometimes. So, or Bruce Buffer, but we'll get to that. In the second round, though, when things started to get bad for him, I thought there was a moment where he might turtle right after the eye poke. And you never know because fighters always react a little differently, but his reaction to the eye poke felt overly frustrated for a thing that's fairly common in a fist fight, right? And I was like, oh, maybe he's not having a good night out there, and maybe this is where things go wrong. And instead, he kind of, as you were saying, stopped engaging with Izzy on so much the terms that Izzy wanted to. He started forcing more of a little bit of a brawl. In my view of it, I think that he got a little bit lucky because it felt like Izzy was just willing to meet him there because Izzy started having a lot of success in that phase. And I think tactically, Izzy felt like, oh, I'm me. I used to do this forever. I can do this and win. And he's not that way anymore. And so ultimately he got, but you have to credit Pyfer for changing the energy. He shifted the dynamic of a fight that was going poorly for him. And I don't necessarily think that's something we've always seen him do or be capable of doing in fights. So do want to give him some credit, but I just want to put this back up for you, AK. How much of that do you weight as a pro Pyfer maneuver versus how much of this is, man, Izzy was really looking good and then decided to engage in a probably ill-advised brawl?
Yeah, it's maybe 60-40. I always want to give the winner a little more credit, barring some like very obvious circumstances where the loser just like dropped an egg. I'll go 60-40 because you do have to acknowledge that the way this fight was going, you feel like this just was not a fight Izzy would have lost in his prime. And I know that's not fair to Joe Pyfer. You fight people when you fight them. I still think this is a meaningful win for Joe Pyfer, but like when we talk about a fighter declining, we're not just necessarily talking about their chin. That's number one, of course. But you got to go with the Anderson Silva comparisons, of course, where yes, the guy had a great chin in his prime, but also his ability to like slip punches, not get caught clean. Right? There was, if you look at a lot of like some of the older Anderson Silva fights, there's shots that definitely like touch his chin, but they're so glancing just because of his positioning, his ability to control range, the head movement. A lot of guys can't get away with sort of the lean back. Izzy could do that in his prime. He tried to get away with it a few times tonight to varying degrees of success. Like I think there were some lean backs where they looked good, but Pyfer's kind of got more contact than you have to imagine Izzy and his team would have liked. So we're talking about the chin, losing reflexes, and from the mental aspect, losing the ability to adapt. Because I think you're all kind of talking about it where. Why did he change? Why did he suddenly think it was okay to brawl? And I think again, when you're a little bit sharper, again, closer to your prime, you're able to sort of refocus much easier as opposed to entering maybe a fight or flight mode, like entering this binary mode of do I run away or do I have to engage? Because I think there's an in-between there that Izzy in his prime could find. And I don't think he can find that anymore. So it was fight or flight. He chose fight. And against a younger guy who hits harder, it's just not going to go well for you. And then so he gets hurt and it gets taken down, gives up position, just really has no chance of getting up after that with the way Pyfer was coming at him. So yeah, 60-40, we do have to acknowledge that 4 straight losses now for Izzy, man. And he just
3 by finish.
I said it in the predictions. I think we've been saying it a lot. He's in that territory of, wow, he's doing great until he's not. And once you hit that range, I cannot think of any fighters who came back from that. I mean, maybe I'm forgetting, but who came back from that before when we started saying that every fight?
You can make an argument. Andrei Arlovski did it a couple of times, but genuinely a very unique career. Very 2 heavyweight, a different dynamic, but also legitimately the reason Andrei Arlovski pulled that off is he fundamentally changed his style. And to me, that's sort of the big thing here is I think the moment Izzy got hurt, I knew the fight was over. Like it took a while, but as soon as you could see that, oh, he's buzzed, his back's against the canvas. Like what tools does he have at that point? Because his recovery is not as good as it used to be. And his instincts are going to be to engage in a fight that is only going to prolong, like be worse for him. As we saw, like he would back up, and he didn't just try and retreat and get a moment to breathe. He backed up, covered up, and then tried to fire shots back. And then that's it all just sort of, he was just engaging in a fight that he's ill-equipped at this stage of his career. And to me, that's sort of the story of most MMA careers. A vast majority of them, like you pointed out, AK, fighters are the last people to know when they're done. It feels like that's true in many sports in general, but maybe in other sports it is easier to reckon with shifting your style to accommodate a game so you can prolong. LeBron James currently getting a ton of praise for being willing to be the third option for the Lakers. You know, a lot more ego tied into fighting sports, and I think we see this more often in them, but this is a very common thing where, yeah, Izzy did really well, and that he did really well against Nasruddin Imavov, and he did really well against Dricus du Plessis, but he has not reckoned with, okay, he can only see the parts that are doing well, and he can't come to terms with the fact that it's not a fluke that he is losing after doing well. This is a symptom of how things exist for him now. And if he wants to keep fighting, he should consider changing things up. But how do you change up something that made you be a 2-time world champion and a kickboxing great? You know, that's a hard thing. So he's in a tough place, AK. And that leads me to the $1 million question. He did not retire in the cage. I don't think anybody anticipated it, but is it time for Israel Adesanya to retire, AK? What say you?
Well, Jed, we get to play a very, very sad little game here. Will you indulge me in a little game?
I mean, I suppose I could indulge you.
It's related to this question. Okay, so I haven't updated my own rankings yet. I had, this is UFC only, not other promotions. I had Izzy at 5 still, behind Sean Strickland, Imavov, du Plessis, Chimaev. I had Pyfer really outside the top 15. So obviously I'll drop, Izzy down a bit, probably, and jump Joe above him. My question is, Jed, okay, let's see. How low do we have to go to find a reasonable win for Izzy? So let me just throw some random names in. I'm probably going to go right outside the top 15 already. Let's go outside the top 15. This is probably a bad example. Okay, let's say someone close to my top 20, Shara Bullet.
So is the question, can he win or would he win?
Would he like be favored and you would be comfortable betting him to win?
I don't think he would, which is the sad state of affairs, but I don't think he would. He could, but I don't think he would.
Jun Yong Park, the Iron Turtle.
Izzy probably beats Jun Yong Park.
Okay. Oh, so I didn't have to go that low. So Jun Yong Park is like my 26th ranked somewhere.
Izzy probably beats Jun Yong Park.
Okay, that's it. So
the problem with Shara Bullet is like the issue with Izzy is, and you saw it early in this fight. Like Joe Pyfer had success with he got a takedown at the very end of the first round when the round was functionally over, and he got the takedown that preceded the end when Izzy was jawed. Like DDP got takedowns on Izzy when he hurt Izzy. Like Izzy is very good at maintaining a range that makes it hard to shoot on him. The way you are going to beat Izzy is you jaw him, and he's more liable to get jawed these days. And I don't think Iron Turtle is one to do it. Shara Bullet, I am not sold on as like a real contender, but he probably could land something there. So
again, so then that has me thinking that maybe he should. So you still think he can beat a top 30 middleweight in the UFC? That's where I have like Iron Turtle, Michael Oleksiejczuk.
Middleweight ain't lightweight, man. Once you get outside of the top like 15,
would you favor him over Jacob Malkoun? Probably, probably, but like, yeah, I still would. Malkoun's not that good. So I think from that perspective, then. He shouldn't retire. The only thing is, I guess if we're being realistic, he probably doesn't want to fight the Iron Turtles and the Jacob Malkouns of the world. It doesn't feel like that's going to get him.
Do you think that's unlikely?
Motivated to return, like, hey, you want to fight again in 3 months, or you want to fight in the summer? Why don't you fight Jacob Malkoun? Okay, so I guess we have to take that into account, his desires as well. Because I just don't know. Pajeda, yes, I have him in that range as well.
I think he's booked.
I have him number 27 in my ranking, my UFC rankings. So yes, that would be another good choice. So if you people want to see those kind of matchups, then he should not retire. But if you kind of think this man is not meant to be fighting outside of the top 20, he is not meant to be fighting in just like, lower main card bouts that don't have any stakes, though I guess any fight he's in, they'd probably still at least make main or co-main, depending on the event. Then in that case, yeah, you probably do want to see Izzy retire. So this is a tough one. I saw someone mention Chuck Liddell in the comments.
There is very much a parallel in my mind of Chuck Liddell.
Yeah, not a perfect comparison, but I remember when Chuck was fading
good
and going down, I was like, yeah, but if you put Chuck in there with the number 26, 27 light heavyweight, he'd still kill them. But then I had to remember, why would Chuck do that? Like, that's right. It doesn't make sense for his career. Why would he do that? So that's kind of where Izzy is now. So should he retire? If it were up to me, of course I would say yes. Of course I think he should retire. He turns 37 in July. He's been fighting for a very, very, very long time. He's made a lot of money. Yes, I think he should retire.
116th pro fight. Long
Goodness
time.
me. Do I think he will? No. You and I both said he definitely wasn't going to retire on fight night. And it sounds like he has no plans of announcing a retirement this year at all.
I think either of these could, I don't think Torres Finney's the next one. But a couple of people have thrown this out. I think Bo Nickel is very much a possibility. Wow, Johnny Eblen just stone brawling with Brian Battle, immediately takes him down. I don't think that fight's going to last that long. AK, I would like to see him retire. Both, I just think it's time. But also, I would kind of, I said this on the pre-fight Q&A. Somebody asked about it. And I want to get your thoughts on if you think this is, would you have any interest? Because for me, what I'd like to see him retire is there aren't any MMA fights that I'm interested in left, right? Like if there were age-appropriate matchmaking legends out there, I could be convinced to do something like that. But sort of, he just kind of isn't helped in that way, right? Like there aren't long-time light heavyweights, like Glover Teixeira is not around to do that with or whatever. And he fought everybody at middleweight. Like what he wouldn't fight Kamaru Usman, which is like kind of one that you could maybe have done in this sort of like legendary thing.
Could I talk you into a Dustin Jacoby?
I'm sorry. Either you spazzed or I did. What the hell did you just say?
Sorry, I said, could I talk you into a Dustin Jacoby?
No.
Okay.
I don't need that glory kickboxing fight in my life.
All right.
Well, like that's it. There just aren't that many MMA fights that I'm interested in seeing him in at this stage. I don't care about watching him fight Bo Nickel, though that may well be a thing we get. Tune in on to the next one tomorrow morning with you and me to see who we think he gets. But I would have at least some passing interest in watching Israel Adesanya do the extracurricular run, have a BKFC fight, maybe box Jake Paul, like that sort of thing. Like the retirement tour of combat sports. Like that would be kind of fun. Have him go to karate combat for one. Should show him up in RAF. We could have some fun with him outside of the UFC. And I just think that I just struggle to think what would tickle my fancy in the UFC. So do you have any interest in seeing him do the Jake Paul BKFC karate combat sort of loop?
I should, but I don't know why. It just feels so weird to me. It feels weird to me to say, oh, I don't see him fighting outside the UFC when like he made his bones as a kickboxer once upon a time. Like obviously he wasn't worldwide famous, but he was a known entity in the kickboxing world, a successful kickboxer before coming to UFC. But I don't know. I don't know why I feel like the octagon should be the end of the road for him. Like it doesn't make sense because you're right. He could follow the Anderson Silva playbook. Like I know the guys have been getting compared their entire careers. And if he did the same thing and went into boxing and fought Jake Paul, it'd just be more comparisons. But I don't know. I'm not curious. I didn't. Well, that's not true. Thought it was funny. When
you have no curiosity. Got it. You don't.
I think I can't. I can't do it. I can't get there.
You don't believe in questioning things or being curious about the world.
I'm not a curious. No, I'm not a curious cat. I'm not a curious cat. Not when it comes to Izzy. I don't know. This is recency bias. I mean, tonight was pretty sobering.
Tonight was pretty tough. And we said it before, and Joe Pyfer's the worst dude who's going to beat him if he beats him. Yeah. And he beat him in a way that was disappointing. It's like that felt like a winnable one for Izzy, and didn't do it. So tough scenes for him.
Whoa. People are saying RDR?
RDR's going up to light heavy, and Izzy doesn't want to. I would honestly like that. I mean, I'll watch RDR fight Mailman. I don't care.
I would love to see them at
I would have like that would be one of the ones that I'd be kind of interested in, frankly. And if the UFC could be like RDR, maybe don't go up. Oh, Johnny Eblen's about to choke out Brian Battle, I believe.
By the way, that recommendation was from Max Rabkin, who also recommended Izzy versus Dylan Dennis. So,
Johnny Eblen did in fact choke out Brian Battle in the very first
back.
round. PFL, she is over. Can turn this off. That's good. Good for Johnny Eblen, get back on the winning track. This would never happen, but he's the only other fight outside of RDR that I would be genuinely interested in. What if we just got Habib in there? You know, just a Habib versus Izzy. I'd have some fun with that. It obviously won't occur, but I'd like that. I'd like that a lot. AK, we have another very important thing to talk about.
Do we?
I mean, we have like 7 pretty good things to talk about, but if we don't remember this as the night Joe Pyfer arrived in the top 10, what we are going to remember this is as the night that I think Maycee Barber might have died because Alexa Grasso ruined that woman. She also ruined the climb and she's taken the soul out from it, but to lose it in this way, buddy, I am okay with it, AK, because Alexa Grasso, one of the more violent finishes you will ever see in MMA, women's or men's, and certainly in the UFC women's divisions. Alexa Grasso hits the sub knockout, the KO mission, whatever you want to call it, floors Maycee Barber in the first round. She is out. Grasso immediately jumps on the back and locks in the choke that she got Valentina Shevchenko with. I forget who the referee was. Was it Mitchell? Maybe. Pulls her off. It is officially ruled a knockout. And I do think that's right, that we can talk about that. So AK.
Mike Beltran.
It was Mike Beltran.
Yes.
We can talk about the official ruling. It is officially a knockout. So if you had a Grasso sub ticket, I am sorry for your loss. That is a tough beat, though I think it's a fair one. AK. Alexa Grasso is back.
Oh. Maybe she was never gone. I don't know. Maybe she was never gone. First off, let me say I criticize these guys so often. I do want to.
Is this me or is you?
I don't know. I see nothing wrong.
You're getting real choppy. I don't know if this is me or you.
Let me close my. I'm going to
chat. Let me know if this is AK or me because
probably me. It's probably me because I'm going to close my tweet deck. I think I've got too much going on here. I got a lot going on.
We all have. It's just me. Okay, apparently.
Oh, what?
Apparently you're good then, AK. Live free.
All right, cool, guys. I was blaming myself. A little self-loathing going on there. All right, I'm just gonna keep cooking then, Jed. Hopefully you can fix that on your end. First off, I criticize these guys so much. Let me just say, I actually thought Herb Dean and Mike Beltran both did a great job with their stoppages today. I thought, at least the top 2 fights. I can't remember which other fights they officiated. Maybe the Pyfer beatdown went on a little too long, but he was giving Izzy a lot of chances to defend himself. Probably, again, maybe could have stopped it a second or two earlier, but I'm not blasting Herb for that. I don't think this was one of his really bad stoppages. So Herb, great job there. Mike Beltran, he tried to get in there really fast. I mean, as soon as Barber got turned around by that punch, he was trying to get in there. It's just Grasso immediately went into murder mode and apparently tried to end Maycee Barber's life. So he got in there pretty quick. I don't think Mike Beltran could have stopped that fight any sooner. I thought first. Let me say first. Also, we have a poll. I put a poll, Jed. What was the most memorable UFC Seattle moment? Pyfer takes out Adesanya. Grasso sends Barber to shadow round. Chiesa retires. Buffer announces wrong winner. Pretty firm. 74%. Grasso sends Barber to shadow realm. I think that is what people are going to take away from this. So I saw that comment on the screen. Well done. Sorry for the podcast listeners. Lazy Bad saying poor Brian couldn't battle through adversity. Well done. I thought for a second with the Barber stoppage that Grasso had broken her neck, 1980s action movie style. I thought she hit her with one of those because she was. Nice. It was uncomfortable, man. She was down for a long time, and the camera team.
I also think they screwed that up from a production standpoint.
Yeah. What do you think?
I think because they didn't know, it was obviously a scary moment. Mm-hmm. And my read on this, and I could be wrong, I do want to be clear, because Cormier was saying she's up now, and the video feed was clearly not.
What was going on there?
My assumption is that the video feed was a loop of the finish because they didn't want to put a live camera on this woman who was not moving.
But we were
and
getting
so this was the like, hey, here's the immediately after, and they held it until she got up to her feet. Well, because otherwise, I don't know. Daniel Cormier is bad on commentary, or was bad tonight in commentary. He's not blind. Like he wouldn't look at a woman clearly on the ground and be like, "She's up now. It's fine." So,
but you got that feed as well, right? And
yes, I think the video feed that was sent out was us doing a slow-mo of her just staying there while they tried to figure it out, because that's the only thing that makes sense to me, because she was down for a very long time. But I don't think Daniel Cormier would have lied about her being up. That doesn't make any sense. I don't know.
So that was so confusing. And I did criticize him on social media. If I'm wrong, I take it back. But because in Canada, I don't know if you got a different feed. So I was watching, we have a Sportsnet up here in Canada, and like it was focused on Barber down the whole time and her like staring blankly into the camera. You guys got that as well?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm a little confused as to what Cormier. I thought he thought that she was up, meaning he thought like she was awake, because just her eyes were open.
Maybe that's it too.
I don't know. I just thought, you're right. I don't know if I should be so hard on Daniel, but I was a little disgusted because I was just like, Daniel, like you don't really know what condition she's in. You need to just, there's times where you can be silent and
yes. Or talk about something else.
Daniel Cormier and Dominic Cruz know more about fighting than I will ever know. I totally respect that. What they do not know more about, not necessarily than me, but I mean, an actual like veteran TV personality is broadcasting. Like this is when we criticize their broadcasting. It's stuff like this. There's a reason people go to school for stuff like this. Is you're taught how to handle these moments. And I think he thinks his job is, I need to keep talking all the time, and that's not necessarily the case. You need to maybe be quiet. And also, when you have information, then you can share that information. So, if he was seeing something different than what we saw, I softened my criticism. But I think he really needed to just sort of back away from this moment for a little bit, because this was super scary. And him saying like, "Oh, she's fine," and like we could just kind of move on. Like, no, man, we can't move on. This was really scary, I think, for anyone watching. Even if you're a veteran fight fan, like you don't want to see this. Thank goodness she did eventually get up on her own power. And hopefully she's okay. We know she's had some sort of mystery health problems. I don't want to think it was related to that at all. I think she was just really, really badly rocked. I've seen people saying they thought she was paralyzed. Like, yes, I mean, it was really scary. She had her by the neck. She knocked her out. This was a limp body that Alexa Grasso had by the neck. And I'm not criticizing Grasso. She's just trying to end the fight. But it was a really scary moment, and a great. And let me just say again, of course, a great moment for Grasso. I mean, she is back, man. She is back. She had the right opponent, I think, and I thought she was going to win a comfortable decision. Did not see her just one-shotting Maycee Barber.
Yeah, it was crazy. I will say I generally like Fitzgerald. I think he's pretty good. My one criticism of him is that he does not take the reins as much as I think he should. Anik is much better about not, and maybe it's just like a comfortability thing with a guy like, Daniel Cormier and Dominic Cruz, Hall of Famers. Anik is much more likely to steer particularly awkward or dangerous conversations in the appropriate ways, and Fitzgerald will kind of just let DC talk himself into something bad. So it is totally possible that just was the live feed and Cormier just was not doing his best work there. I was just trying, I don't know, but the whole thing was weird, but mostly the whole thing was sick, because Alexa Grasso is going to be, I mean, front runner for, it's weird because I would like to call that submission of the year front runner right now, but it's not.
You need to explain to him, by the way, that, and I'm with you on this now, because I was a little confused in the moment. I thought the choke had something to do with the finish, but you're pretty confident like she was just out from the punch.
I am, because my initial reaction was, how do you call it a KO when he intercedes and she is in a clear and deep choke? If you go back and watch it, and it didn't even take me long to watch it, like there is, who'd you say the ref was? Beltran?
Yeah.
Beltran. So there's a moment where when Maycee gets floored and basically spun around and drops, she gets the full 180 spin, and Grasso puts the right hand, which low key, unbelievably good shot from Grasso on like a body in motion to just draw her perfectly on the spot. And then just latches onto the back. Beltran's kind of like in a moving position. And so now he's got Barber's back to him, so he can't see her eyes. And so he knows she's dropped, but maybe she's there. You know, we've seen that happen all the time. So as he is spinning out into space to try and get a view there, that's when Grasso jumps on it. And there's maybe like a half tick where he could have reacted faster, but like he's a human being, you know, it just is what it is.
Yeah.
And he recognizes, oh, she's out, and he stops. And she's not out because she was getting choked out. She's out because she was unconscious, and he could not intercede or determine beforehand that was the case. So I do think KO is correct. It's just like a weird situation. And like straight up credit to Alexa Grasso, man, outside of the best left hand of her career, right? Like that's what that was. And a great follow-up right hand. My biggest takeaway from this is that don't let Alexa Grasso have your back, because she is the meanest person in the world if she has your back. Just the worst.
She's crushing dreams. She's crushing Jed Meshew's dreams when she sees a fighter.
I wasn't even mad, man. That was just no. She is actively hurting my life with her rear naked chokes. But dude, those were like she is so. I think there's a fair criticism to levy against Grasso for like a broad lack of a killer instinct. But like I think to me that has been one of the defining features of this sort of slide that she was on before this, is like she wouldn't really turn it up enough and just get mean in there. That was not the problem tonight, man. She was ruining people. So
that was one of the meanest things I've ever seen. Not even fighting, in life. Like I've seen a lot of meat cruelty. That was one of the meanest things I've ever seen.
I think that is on Knockout of the Year watch, just because it's very unique too. Like it's a very unique and cool one. So that definitely is going to get. It's on the short list. I put it there. We'll talk about where Alexa Grasso goes from here on to the next one in the morning. I don't think it's to a title shot. Shout out to Natalia Silva, who basically immediately after this happened got to posting like the happiest trash talk you've ever seen. I don't know if you saw the tweet. She just looks like very happy, and she's like, "Oh, so I shouldn't talk shit. I'm next." And just like jovially celebrating that Maycee Barber almost died. But the other question on this co-main event, AK, is very obviously the other side of the ball here, and it is, where does Maycee Barber go from here? 7-fight win streak comes to a halt in dramatic, emphatic fashion. Still young, but this was the setup fight to get her over, and it did not go correct in any respect. So what's next for Maycee Barber?
Look, I think her ceiling's pretty clear. I just think Alexa Grasso is a way more skilled fighter. I think if she fought Natalia Silva, it would have been, I don't know, knockout, but I think it would have been a pretty clear win for Natalia Silva. So, you know, I think you can comfortably place Maycee outside of a pretty firm, like top four. We would say Manon, Natalia Silva, Shevchenko, and Grasso. And it's a big gap. It's those four, and then it's a pretty sizable gap, and that's okay. And if you're Maycee, I actually think she can hang around long enough. I hate to invoke this, but Mackenzie Dern style, and maybe somewhere down the road, just kind of outlast some of these people ahead of her, because Manon's not super young. Valentina's not super young. Obviously, Alexa Grasso, not old, but you know, she's up there in fight years. She's 32. Natalia Silva is a sticking point. I mean, she could be around for like another decade. We don't know. But could Maycee fight for a title someday? Yeah, she can have to hang around. Like what happened to her tonight is, I think, why we also love her so much, because one thing I was saying is people worried that Grasso was going to just have a fight where she does nothing. That really is not an option with Maycee Barber. She's always coming forward. She's always looking to finish. I know she has a lot of decisions, but again, if you watch her fights, she really is genuinely always looking to finish. Just because she can't doesn't mean she's not trying to. There's a lot of activity, a lot of aggression, a lot of coming forward, and that's kind of what cost her tonight. So she's going to have a place in the UFC. I think they really like her. Fingers crossed, just her health is straightened out and we can see her fight like at least twice a year. I would love that, because I think she's really entertaining and like one of the more entertaining fighters in this division. So hopefully maybe takes the rest of the year off after this knockout. I will say, if we don't see her until 2027, I'll certainly be happy about that. But she has a lot of time. So where does she go? I think she can still fight someone else in the top 10. I'd have to take a look. And yeah, she'll be hovering around there for a long time. I think she actually, health permitting, will have a very nice, successful career with the UFC and maybe even sneak in a title shot somewhere still.
Yeah, I would say she probably still will fight for a belt at some point. I don't know that she'll win it, but I was never really certain she would win a belt anyway. She should take a long time off. That's just a very scary knockout. You should not play around with those things. Again, young enough to continue to build and grow. But no doubt that is a really, really devastating loss for her and her dreams. And be interested to see how she bounces back. AK, I'm excited for on to the next one. I don't even know if we'll get to call it a friends forever. I think I know where to go with Grasso. But AK, where we don't need to go anywhere? I mean, we're going to go there, but it's the last place we'll go for both men. Because in the feature bout of the evening, a double retirement happens. Michael Chiesa goes out on top. He also crushes our dreams, not even in as fun a way, frankly, as Alexa Grasso did. Didn't even pretend to punch Nico Price, not once.
And he could have.
I meant to look this up, so I'm going to pull this right now. I'm going to go to UFC stats, and I want to see if...
Did he even throw a strike? Did he throw a strike?
0 significant strikes landed in the final bout of his career. If you followed, I don't regret my choice to bet the KO, and neither should you, so I won't be apologizing. But it is quite funny that Michael Chiesa probably heard the rumors and was like, I'm not even going to throw a punch. I'm just going to choke this dude out. He basically instantaneously defeats Nico Price, goes out on top, gets the video package. Poor Nico Price is sitting there, or not poor, really, kind of your own fault, buddy, is sitting there, drops the gloves, doesn't get a speech or anything. So, AK, talk to me about the Chiesa retirement, the double retirement, really.
Yeah. I mean, I just perfection, perfectly booked. I think he could have done the same to Carlston Harris. That was like the original opponent before he was replaced by Nico Price on like a week's notice. It probably would have been similar, maybe not as fast, but I think he could have done the same way. So he would have the same moment. UFC did a great job here, man. I mean, Chiesa has been one of their guys, like just from a front-facing standpoint, speaks well, great at interviews, good analyst, Ultimate Fighter royalty, won season 15, the only live Ultimate Fighter they ever did. So he has that little feather in his cap. I don't remember if he got to top 10 as a lightweight. He did beat Beneil once. Maybe he didn't put him in the top 10. Anyway, flirting with the top 10 in 2 divisions, always nice to see. Ready to fight anyone. Some exciting fights in there. A few fights of the nights. Hasn't got a bonus. I was going to say, did you get any bonus recently? But yeah, company man. Perfect timing. They like going to Seattle. You got the man from Washington himself, Mike Chiesa. So it just couldn't have been booked better. It was a feel-good moment. They had the video package and everything. He's right in that hall of very good, right? Not a guy who should be put in there with, I don't know, another Washingtonite, Demetrius Johnson, for example. I would not put them anywhere close in the same tier. But I hope we this is just for a guy of Chiesa's level, this is his Hall of Fame moment. It's out, it's forever, it's on tape. He can always look back at UFC Seattle in 2026 and have this moment. He'll always have that tribute video. He'll always have this win. So that was nice. And as for Nico, man, that was so weird. Did you catch when they said they did the little Nico, they were showing him backstage before the fight and they revealed there that he was going to retire? You didn't catch that? Oh, Jed, you're muted. You're muted, I think.
Did not catch that. Apparently he had said something earlier in the week about it as well. I had no idea.
I had no idea. I thought he didn't say anything earlier in the week. I can't remember. I think it was Heidi. I think it was Heidi Androl. Sorry, or Heidi Androl. I think was doing the little backstage info package, and they were just showing Nico warming up, and that's where I heard for the first time. Oh, Nico also planning to hang up his gloves tonight, and I'm like, this is maybe the worst retirement announcement I've ever heard. Why would he do this? But doing it in a fight where he's definitely going to lose. In someone else's hometown, in a fight that has been billed as Chiesa's retirement bout for months. This has been billed. And the week of, you take this on short notice, you say, yeah, I'm going to retire too. Listen, man, it sucks that he didn't get some time after, but him and his people who signed up for this, you have no one to blame but yourselves. This was a very strange choice. So I hope Nico... I kind of want him to retire after his last fight. So it sounds weird to say that I hope he fights again. But if he is trying to get that moment, then yeah, I guess I hope he fights again.
Yeah. You had to know this was coming, look, you want to retire when you want to retire. This wants to be your exit. Okay. But you can't really be surprised. This is being set up for this thing. And it would be weird to give Chiesa all of this and then go to you for any amount of time, right? It's just not. When they do the Oscars, the big awards go last. The last one of the evening is not best short documentary. That's where you are, Nico. And I'm sorry, but like, frankly, you're not even really that. So, you know, like it is just tough. It feels a little tough, but I think that probably could have seen this coming. Good on Chiesa. Happy exit. Another very happy moment. Demetrius Johnson inducted into the Hall of Fame. I'll be honest, this one caught me off guard. I thought DJ would go in eventually because they're not that much bad blood, but he's been a little outspoken against the UFC, and there's not like a rush to put him in. But sitting there cage side with his family, Izzy in the main event popped down, said hey, shouted out to him. Alex Pereira took photos with him. Obviously one of the most deserved entries of all time, unquestionably. But AK, nice to see DJ. Kind of weird, just sort of like out of nowhere feels like, but nice to see DJ in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I don't know why we didn't see this coming though. Like it does feel like the right time, right? I mean, the retirement from one was 2 years ago now, so he's kind of just been floating out there, fancy free, doing some solid podcasting, doing interviews, probably still doing a lot of gaming. Yeah, so why wouldn't he attend UFC Seattle and do this? Always had a good relationship. Part of the lone trade we ever saw in history, and there was never any real bad blood. Like just from a competitive standpoint, there was occasional shots of like, oh well, here's opportunities I didn't get there, and this is why I love one championship and blah blah blah. But I don't recall Dana ever like throwing him under the bus. I don't remember if he did one of those like, well, Demetrius didn't want to fight the best competition things. I don't think that happened. So again, maybe there was
he did. It happened when he was still on the roster.
When he was in the UFC. yeah, it was. I'm saying strictly after. It feels like
DJ doesn't want to fight TJ Dillashaw, so we're going to burn the division to the ground.
I meant after. Okay. After he was no longer part of the UFC's plans, Dana seemed pretty appreciative of what his contributions to the company. So yeah, this was always going to happen. Why not now? And well deserving. And I think you and me both agree. Part of any discussion of the top 5 pound for pound fighters of all time, I feel like DJ has to be in there. I think if he's not your top 5, it's a little
undeniably. If it's not a top 5, there's no reason to respect your opinion.
Wow.
So yeah, all-time great. Arguably the greatest fighter who's ever lived. Absolutely deserves it. Happy for him. Let's we've got some comments about some of these preset stuff that I had built, so I won't.
Did you have any thoughts on the bonuses, Jed?
So good point. The bonuses, let me pull them up because Tafik Musayev, Ignacio Bahamondes, get fight of the night. Performances go to Joe Pyfer and Alexa Grasso. Yeah, Grasso very obviously deserves one. I think the Joe Pyfer bonus is the classic UFC giving a bonus to the guy in the main event who finishes.
That's a big win.
It's a big win. That's not as good as Larry and Douglas, is like much more of a highlight reel finish.
Yeah.
Terrence McKinney finished a dude in 4 seconds.
Yeah. Casey O'Neill
blew up a lady. But the one to talk about is one of the last 2 points I have really, and it's here. It's the Tafik Musayev Ignacio Bahamondes fight.
Oh boy.
Mainly I just want to talk about this because we're going to get to questions in a moment, and there are already questions pulled about some of the other stuff to talk about on the prelims. But AK, this fight left me feeling really weird. It just left me feeling really weird. Tafik Musayev wins a unanimous decision, 29-28, 29-28, and 29-28, 29-27, and 30-27. So splits around. Looked like he was going to get finished in the second round, but cheated. Just straight up, egregiously, unapologetically, double fence grab to not get taken down in a sequence that we'll never know. You don't know what would have happened if he had gotten taken down. Maybe he survives. If he gets taken down, maybe Bahamondes puts the final nails in. It absolutely tangibly affects the fight. The ref does nothing. Pretty short time after that, Musayev ends up on top, slashes Bahamondes open with I think an elbow was what delivered the cut, but went to work for the remainder of the second round. Turned that round in my scorecard officially a 10-8, even though I hate it. And functionally sort of won the fight there. Also threw a headbutt once he was on top. So a lot of tomfoolery from Tafik Musayev. And in my opinion, I think there's a good argument that it directly resulted in him winning a fight instead of losing a fight. And so this one feels a little weird, AK. How are you feeling about the prelim main event?
Well, let me tell you something. Ignacio owes Tawfiq Musayev some things, because I don't think he gets that $100,000 fight of the night bonus.
Not a chance.
If that cheating doesn't happen. I don't know what Bahamondes' contract is at. Let's say, that cheating may have cost him like a 40K win bonus, maybe 50K if we're being generous. I'm not sure. I can confidently say that Bahamondes' contract is more than that.
I think it probably led to him not getting finished, which directly cost Bahamondes 25 finish bonus dollars.
It did cost. This is true. Okay, so 25 plus his win,
plus whatever his win bonus is. I
still think that's less than $100,000. I still think
in total it is less than $100,000. I guess.
I think he came out ahead financially. I think he came out ahead financially.
I don't know. He's going to have a nasty cut that he has to deal with for some time.
How many the UFC will pay for that? But that's not great. But also the memories. You can't put a price on memories, Jed. You can't put a price on a good time. And we all had a good time. And his reputation now, he has a fight of the night bonus. He wouldn't have got a performance, like I said. It would have been Grasso, and it would have been Joe Pyfer for the being the main event finisher guy. So I'm trying to look at this on the bright side, because it does suck. But no criticism of Musayev, guys. We always say, referee, who was it? Who was the referee on that one? I'll find it right now. This was one Mr. Bobby, the wonderfully named Bobby Wambacher. Great name. Maybe not the best
name. Silent loser. It's my show, and I do whatever the hell I want.
That was referring for the podcasters. That was referring to a comment that was made. Anyway, but yeah, not the greatest. A cool name, Bobby Wambacher. Not the greatest officiating moment right there.
Yeah. Cheat. Always cheat.
Always cheat.
No, never going to get punished for it. Also, he may have tried to bite him. I didn't see that, but I saw that around a lot, and somebody threw it in the comments too. And Tawfiq Musayev sort of has that rep anyway. Tough one in that regard. The fight was quite fun if you can set that aside. But Bahamondes got to feel a little bit hard done by in that one. So tough scenes. The rest of the card, we didn't talk about some other stuff in the main card. So let me just run down some results, and we'll just fire into questions for the remainder of the show. I did briefly mention Larry Douglas knocked out Julian Erosa. Quite a good performance from the debutant. Another debutant who also had a good performance. Usually Belgarawi defeats Mansour Abdul Malik. Another, maybe not the best fight IQ performance from Abdul Malik there. Terrence McKinney does a Terrence McKinney thing. He runs right over Kyle Nelson in 24 seconds.
Amazing. And once again, does not get a performance.
Still doesn't get a bonus.
At least 25
which is incredible 25. Bit.
Insane.
It's such a good bit, and they're like joking about it on the broadcast. How does he not have a bonus? Crazy. Doesn't get one tonight.
All of his wins are first round finishes in the UFC. Eight wins in the UFC, all first round finishes. No official performance bonus. This is his first time getting that 25K bonus.
Lance Gibson finished Chase Hooper. A little bit of controversy there. I don't think so. I think it's a good stop. I think the stoppage is fine.
Oh yeah, that was fine.
Maybe a touch early, but nothing to cry about. But the Seattle fans certainly did cry about it.
Until they found out that our good Canadian boy Lance was also born.
Born right around the corner.
Oh, this guy's okay.
Oh, it's fine. Yay. I love MMA fans. Are the best. Tyrell Fortune loses and then beats Marcin Tybura, which we have a question about that, so we'll talk about that in a moment. By decision in the heavyweightiest fight of all time, and the only bet I succeeded on tonight. I did quite poorly in the betting end of things. Casey O'Neill back in a big way, knocks out Gabriela Fernandez. Navo Sterling gets his first finish in the UFC, stopping Bruno Lopez. Ricky Simone fights to a draw with Adrian Yanez in a fight that we will also talk about in just a moment. And Alexia Tainara defeats Bruno Brazil in the opener of the evening. AK, we've been going almost an hour.
We have.
And honestly, there's still a bunch of specific fights to speak about. Not even to mention we've got some RAF that we could get involved in.
I think we got to run through some of these super chats.
We do, and I'm also getting yelled at. So we're going to pop into
as did I.
Here. Did you? Okay.
As did I.
I disagree with that, but I'm not in charge of that.
There's things to do.
Things to do.
We discussed this.
So,
yeah.
Yes, I'm just going through.
We got to talk about this. Yeah.
So we do have to talk about Bruce Buffer made the biggest faux pas, arguably, of his entire career. Marcin Tybura was announced as the winner, so much so that Tyrell Fortune left the KJK. was walking back, was very sad. The crowd booed.
He just thought he lost.
He just thought he lost.
I didn't do enough.
So did I. I mean, I didn't think he should have lost, but it was real weird.
He's like, damn, I guess I don't know how I lost that first round, but I guess I didn't do enough.
Yeah. And then the camera just lingered on Marcin Tybura, who looked real curious until it finally became clear that Buffer just straight up read the scores wrong.
I had $5 on Tybura, and I was like excited, and I was like, that can't be right. How could he? I was like, how could he have won the first round? There's no criteria under which he won the first round.
Yeah. So wild times there.
Sorry.
But, you know, it all came out in the wash. Deeply funny. A lot of weird things happened that evening. We do have a super chat from Ace Bookie. Izzy can't seem to stay locked in. Really strange. You could have easily won that fight.
Yeah.
And that's just part of getting old, I think.
Ace, he's almost 37, and he's had almost 120 pro fights. You only got so many in you, unfortunately.
Double gift here from our man, Orthan Kohaman. I apologize if I screwed that up at all. Thank you for that. And then for this one, the Bahamondes DQ win, Nico's retirement ignored.
Tough.
Yeah.
DQ win. That was a UD, my friend. Unanimous decision.
I mean, he couldn't really get DQ'd win, but it was just a real weird situation. Tough scenes for Bahamondes. From our buddy Garrett, my wife loves Grasso, hates Barber. She was pumped on that. Best card of the year, Grasso finish of the year. We don't do a finish of the year award because we bifurcate them, but like I said, I think she might be the front runner for knockout of the year now.
Yeah, she might need her own category. It was such a strange.
If she doesn't, she's definitely going to get in the like odds and ends year end of awards thing that we do for just like weirdest thing of the year.
That is the visual of the year. That and Cody Garbrandt puking into a bucket, which we actually didn't get to see. We actually didn't get to see on camera. So we did not get to see that on camera. We only have beautiful pictures from can't remember the gentleman's name, but yeah, that was the on camera moment of the year. It's gonna take me a while to shake that off.
Shout out Lazy Bed for a gifted sub. Shout out Enigma Master.
The best.
For 5 gifted subs. Way to go, boys. From this man whose name I just won't say, medjshoe.com, decent website. How long has the UFC sat on PV's part of the DJ Hall of Fame announcement? So that was the funniest part of the Hall of Fame announcement. Is it's pretty clear that they pulled videos that they've had this in the can for a long time.
That was like 24-year-old Paige Van Zandt. That was a long time. I had to think, and Henry Cejudo as well, was very young Henry Cejudo. I had to think those are part of a previous video. I imagine you guys are hardcore. You must have seen previous videos where they had used this footage, just like talking like DJ hype packages or something. That can't have been unseen.
Just been that, yeah.
That was really fun.
Yeah, it was just like, why I think in Slack were like, why is Paige Van Zandt? And he was like, this is old.
This is really old.
She hasn't been fighter in a long time.
Not in the UFC, that's for sure.
We close out our super chats from Chase. Izzy versus Dom Reyes. I mean, if we're going to do it, there are worse. I think Dom's booked.
This should be they should do that obviously in Australia or New Zealand. And again, they should do just like with Nico Price. Dom should be like, I'm retiring too. Like a retirement bout. And Tom's like, wait, no, what about me? I beat John Jones.
Well, winner and loser leaves town match. Everybody just leaves town. I like that. I do before we get out of here. I mean, one shout out to Casey O'Neill because Casey, that was a terrific comeback. We do gotta talk about the Simone Yanez fight, right? Like that was nuts.
I was not scoring closely, unfortunately. So I don't know if I can join in the outrage, but pretty vocal from the MMA community that something went wrong there, especially with the way it ended, with Yanez really being seconds away from a finish.
And apparently he needed it.
And frankly, if it had been waved off, I'm sure Vicky wouldn't have been happy about it. I don't know if fans would have complained that much if that got stopped at that time.
I think everybody would have been okay because I think everybody thought he was winning the fight anyway. And then it would have come out that was actually hugely substantive. Not one judge didn't score the third round of 10-8, which I think is like genuinely indefensible. If you want to be very, very generous, maybe you can give Ricky 2 rounds. I don't think that I think that fight is closer to a 30-26 for Yanez than it is a 28-28. Genuinely floored. There was one of the few times where I like absolutely did not see the outcome coming. So tough night for Adrian Yanez, who I thought put on a very, very good performance and a really fun fight. we had some good stuff going.
Yeah. So that would have just made it a draw, a unanimous draw, right? If they'd given them a 10-8, like, it just doesn't change
correct.
it. No.
You know, it wouldn't have changed anything, but like you should know how to score, and
yes,
by every definition of the scoring, that's a 10-8.
Yeah.
So yeah. Also from Orthan Kohaman again. I want to work with MMAF or fights.
Just the soon to be rebranded. Just fights.
Just
if PFL doesn't beat you to it, if PFL doesn't.
They look. PFL take my ideas. Put Johnny Eblin in fights. That'd be doing a lot better. I think we can get out of here. Let me figure out how to do the media assets. And as we do, I will note Arman Sarukian successfully took down Giorgio Poulos. Yes. And mostly, if y'all haven't checked out RAF, let me encourage you to check out RAF because I think it's a good program. I've really enjoyed it. So if you have any passing interest in wrestling, I'd say do that. You can go watch the replay of PFL over on ESPN, and you can follow along with the rest of our coverage right here on our YouTube channel over at MMAfighting.com. AK, it's a great website. You and me, buddy, tomorrow, on to the next one. And then we're on to the next one is bad. It's UFC Vegas something terrible. I don't remember, frankly.
We'll talk about it. I'll see. We're going to talk about it tomorrow's show.
We're going to talk about it. So, okay. In the meantime, thank you for joining us this evening. Hope you enjoyed the fights. You won't deal with my nonsense next time because we should have real producers instead of me. But we did. Happy birthday, AK.